There's another thing you can do with troops. Let's say your enterprise that your troop is extorting or protecting, it gets nationalized. And nationalized means it gets discarded. What happens to your troop? Well, they either get discarded or they can retreat back to your Hacendado. Your Hacendado card starts loyalty side up. When it's loyalty side up, you have a special ability and you also have 2 income cubes because you're loyal to President Diaz. The 2 circumstances when you can flip your Hacendado is 1, when you're retreating your troops. The troops can retreat to your Hacendado only if they match one of the colors that's on the other side. And basically you're going to partner with those troops, they're going to protect you, and you're going to get a prestige point for whichever color you partner with. The other time you can flip your Hacendado is when you topple. During a topple, you're going to have the option to flip over your Hacendado. When you flip your Hacendado, you're going to lose your income cubes and you lose your special ability. So what happens when there's a depression? Depression starts when 2 headline cards are discarded in a row with a red bear on them. When that happens, you take a blue chip and place it on the regime card to indicate that right now we have depression. In this case, mines and the economy would all go to 0. Any mines out there, take off your cubes, they go to 0. Economy for a bank, that would go to 0 as well. The other penalty that happens along with mines being 0 and the economy being 0 is that any cards that you have in play, you have to pay 1 gold for at the end of your income phase. If you can't afford to keep those cards in play and those cards get discarded, depression hurts. Porfirio Diaz can help. Don Luis Terrazas is going to go to the market and purchase a card using 1 action, and this is in the 0 cost column, so you can just pick it up and take it to his hand. Now the second action on this one is he's going to pay the cost of it and play this card. This is a 3 cost ranch, so he's going to spend 3 and then put that out in his play area. Leaves him with 1 gold. He's a starting player, so he gets 4 gold. Second player gets 5 gold, 6 gold, 7 gold. Oops. He gets a start income cube on his ranch. It's got 1 on there. So that's going to generate income during his income phase. But for his third action, he's going to speculate. He's looking at this Banditos card out here. This one could potentially hurt his ranch pretty bad. So he's going to assume that someone's going to buy it. He's going to put a speculation cube on there. That way if someone buys that card, rather than the money going to the bank, he'll get the money. After he's done using his actions, no headline cards to discard in this column, so then the market just refreshes itself. All the cards slide down and become cheaper here, and then a new card comes out, which is another headline card. So we got 2 headline cards out. Last thing on his turn is he collects income for the amount of cubes he has in play. He's got 2 because he's still loyal to Porfirio Diaz. And then he has 1 on his ranch. So he gets 3 gold from the bank. I'd say buying that ranch for 0 gold was probably great to be the first player. So we move on to clockwise here over to Pascual Orozco, right here. Now Pascual, his specialty is he can buy orange cards from the market for half cost. You know, he sees the card that can really hurt. He can spend 2. This is in the 0, 1, 2, 4 column here. He can spend 2 gold, which he knows this money's going to go to Don Luis. So he spends 2 gold, gives it to Don Luis. That speculation cube goes back into Don Luis's speculation pool. And he's going to buy this. Now that he's spent for half price, he buys this Bandidos card. He's going to hang on to that. That used 1 action. Now Pascual Orozco is going to use this orange card on his friend over here. This orange card is called Red Battalions. First thing we do when he plays this is he uses an action, spends 1 gold, that goes to the bank. What it does first is it steals 3 gold. He's going to play this on the ranch. He's sending the Red Battalions over to the ranch, and what they're going to do is raid the ranch, create some unrest, and steal gold. He can play this because the district matches. This is a Chihuahua district, and this would work on a Chihuahua district or Sonora district. He's going to steal 3 gold from Don Luis. Now Don's thinking, I should have probably bought that card, but he didn't. It's going to put 4 unrest tokens, which is harsh. He's going to get 4 unrest tokens on his ranch, which means anytime there's unrest, the income on that is not generated, or if you upgraded the connection, that's no longer valid until that unrest is removed. So he just hurt Don Luis pretty bad. So he's 4 unrest tokens, steals 3, and then switches our regime over to anarchy. So we find the anarchy card, and this one is going to change the economy a little bit. This says all troops have jurisdiction in any district. So, and it's going to change our economy there. So we'll put that back out here. Everything changes to anarchy. It doesn't really affect too much at this point. The last thing on this Red Battalions card is it's got an outrage point that's upside down. That is called a victim awarded point, and that's going to go into Don Luis Terrazas's victim or his prestige stack. So he gets a point for that. Caused a lot of harm, but now he's got an outrage point out there. All right, so that's 2 actions for Pascual Orozco, and last thing he's going to do is just use a speculation cube. Might as well. Someone's going to buy one of these cards out here, and he sees this Anti-Saloon League card that looks pretty good. So he sticks a red cube on that. No headline cards to discard. Refresh the market, and then he collects 2 gold for his income cubes out here. So he made out like a bandit. Moving on to Bernardo Reyes. Bernardo has his ability is he can buy troops from the market for half cost. So Bernardo says, I need to generate some income. He goes over here to the market, looks at this mine next to these other cards and says, that's in Sonora. That would cost me 6 to play later on. Or I have one that is another mine. So he decides to spend, this is a 0, 1, and 2 cost column. So he's going to spend 2 gold and pick up this mine here. So he uses an action, spends gold, picks up a mine that goes into his hand. He doesn't have enough to play that card, so he's got to decide what else to do. If he buys another card from the market, it's going to use 2 actions. He looks at the current regime and its anarchy, so he might buy this troop here using 2 more actions. He's going to pick this troop up. Now this is in the 1 cost column, and he's got his ability to get troops for half cost rounded up, so he's not going to get a deal here. Already getting a deal for 1 gold, but no extra bonus. So he takes the troops, adds them to his hand. He's used 3 actions. Now I go to discarding headline cards. There's none in the 0 column, and then we just refresh the market. So everything becomes cheaper and slides down, and then we replenish with 2 cards. And we got a partner that came out in another troop, and then Bernardo Reyes looks at that troop and says, wow, maybe I could buy that later on. Moving on, Bernardo gets 2 gold for his income, for his 2 loyalty cubes. Now we go on to Mr. Carenza. His special ability is he can buy black cards from the market for 0 gold. We got a couple out there right now. He's more interested right now in just trying to generate some income. So Bernardo is going to buy this mine. Says, I need an enterprise that's cheap. I can get that for 1 gold. So he uses an action, spends a gold. Don Luis is out here, uses 1 action to buy the Indian fighters, and gets Bernardo over here shaken a little bit because he's got a mine that these Indian fighters could target. Spends 1 action that was free because it was in the 0 cost column. That speculation cube produced nothing for Bernardo. So Don Luis purchases his card. The mine from Bernardo Reyes is Sonoran District, and you can get there by pack mule as a local troop. So Mr. Don Luis Terrazas is going to use his 2nd action, spend 3 gold, and deploy these troops on the mine. And he's going to extort the mine. And when this is first played, first thing you do is you can switch this over. It's going to change everything to martial law, as shown on this card, and then place an unrest on the other enterprises in the district. And the district is Sonora. There are no other enterprises for Sonora out on the table. So martial law comes into play. Mines are still worth 2 gold, still worth 2 cubes, and don't think it's really going to affect too much. Our economy goes down to 2, and then police action costs 0 gold on this one. So if you take a police action to remove unrest, 0 gold, even if you don't have a troop on that enterprise. The other thing we do when these local troops come in here is they're going to extort this mine. 1 of the yellow cubes is removed, and then Don Luis takes his black cube and then places it right next to the yellow cube. Tells us that this is his local troop. He's going to collect 1 gold during his income phase. He also has a command point. This command point here belongs to Don Luis, does not belong to Bernardo. 3rd action we're going to take right now is Mr. Don Luis is going to take, and he's going to place a speculation cube over here. He's going to place his cube on this mine, thinking someone else might want to buy it. That's going to end his turn. And we're going to refresh the market. It's going to get close to the end of his turn. We refresh the market, takes out a smelter, and then Mr. Don Luis collects his gold. He's got 5 here, plus 1 over here for 6 gold. Sitting pretty. He also has an outrage point and a command point now. Moving on, we go over to Pascual Orozco over here. Pascual Orozco's in jail. He would only get 2 actions if he has his whole turn when he's in jail. If he decides to get out of jail, he'll get his 3 actions. So for his first action, he's going to exit or get out of jail. That's a police action. Since we're in martial law, police action costs 0 gold. Normally it would cost 3. So he's going to get out of jail for 1 action and now has his other 2 actions left. He's got no cards out there, but has a pot of gold here. He needs to get something going. He's had a lot of things stripped away. He's looking out here at this gun store. He likes orange cards for sure, and a gun store would earn him extra gold for playing orange cards. So he's going to do one thing, and that's going to be purchase the gun store. That's going to give Bernardo Reyes here 1 gold because he had his speculation cube on it. He buys it for 1 gold, adds this to his hand. For second action, he's going to play the gun store. And this is an American district. You have to, troops get there on boot. It's got 1 upgraded connection for 1. So Bernardo Reyes he's done with his 3 actions, and then he is going to refresh the market. We get a mill out here. And then he's going to collect his income. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 over here is 8. He's getting up there. Mr. Carenza here is looking out here, and first thing he wants to do is buy this gun store. Get a card in his hand, and the cube generates no income. Speculation cube for Don Luis generates no income. He's going to play his gun store for second action, and that costs 7 gold. Plays his gun store. The other thing, gun stores typically have a very cheap connection, and he's going to own the connection, and that's Pack Mule. And he's going to pay 1 for that. He also got the cube I forgot to put on for the gun store. Now if there's any orange cards played, he'll generate 2 gold as well. That's 3 actions done. Bought the card, played it from his hand, and upgraded the connection. His turn's done, except he's got to refresh the market. Topple card's getting cheaper. We got a plantation that came out, which is good. Needed some of those. And then also he generates income. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And nothing else out there. 6 gold, and his turn's done. Then we move on to Don Luis. It would cost 9 gold to remove all those unrest tokens right now. So he's studying, and the card in his hand is a copper queen. Maybe he's just going to let go of that for a minute and play his copper queen. So he's going to wait for the regime to possibly change to martial law or someone to extort that and help him out. Copper Queen he plays, it's going to cost 9. And it's got a chain link connection for rail on it, which is a good one. It costs 10 on this Copper Queen, but we'll see if he can buy that sometime later, someone else can. What the chain link rail connection does is it allows you to upgrade any connection for 1 gold later on in the game. If you own a chain link connection, rail connection, and there's no unrest on there, then you can purchase a upgraded connection for 1 gold rather than the cost that's on it. This is a mine, so it's going to go to the Pax regime of 2. So he places 2 cubes. He's starting to run out of cubes, and now has a mine out there, an American mine. 1 action to buy the card, or play the card from his hand. He's going to sell 1 card. For second action, he sells a card to get 3 gold. It's a card he wasn't thinking he'd be able to use. Get this theater, because it might be another enterprise he can play next turn. So use 3 actions, refreshes the market. The topple card is getting cheaper. And then earns income. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops, don't count these. It got unrest on them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 income. So he's not generating as much because of the unrest. When you want to think about toppling Diaz, you have to know what type of prestige point it takes to defeat him depending on the regime. Let's look at the regimes first and see what type of prestige point is needed to take it down. During Pax Porfiriana, You can flip over the card and see that you would force Diaz into retirement if your loyalty is greater than the tripartite. Now the tripartite is Diaz's score of loyalty on the back of this card. It always starts at 2 and it can be modified by the other players. You take that plus the loyalty of the lowest 2 opponents that you have, add those together. If your loyalty is greater, you would win the game. Number 2 here is martial law. For martial law, you can flip that over and see that that would force a coup d'etat. That means you need to have more command than the tripartite. For U.S. intervention, that one would force a U.S. annexation of Mexico, which didn't happen, by the way, but we can say it, possibly make it happen in this game. And that would be your outrage would have to be greater than the tripartite. And the last one is anarchy. And for anarchy, you would force a free election where you would need revolution points for your prestige points greater than the tripartite. So now that we know what it would take, you also have to have a topple card work its way through the market. When the player purchases a topple card, the player to his or her left, you take the current regime and they have the possibility to modify Diaz's points. In this case, I had anarchy up. That was a current regime. I'd flip that over and see that Diaz's revolution is 2 plus the lowest 2 revolution points of the lowest 2 opponents. We would add those together. But the player to the left has the first option. He can flip over his Hacendado card and take on one of the 2 possible sides on the back. And in this case, let's say Mr. Carranza flipped his card, he would have a secret, almost like a secret revolution point that he could play there. He loses the 2 income cubes from the loyalty side, and now he's taking revolution. So he would have another prestige point for revolution, and then he could, if he had any cards out there that would modify Diaz's total, he could play those. That same thing happens as it goes around the table. They can flip their Hacendado card, or play modifiers to Diaz's total. Then players would see if they can beat the tripartite. If a player can, they would win the game. If more than 2 players can beat the tripartite, then the player out of those 2 with the most gold would win the game. And if this was the 4th topple card that came through the market, if one of the players bought this topple card and it's the 4th one and nobody can beat the tripartite, then the player with the greatest amount of gold would win the game. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned the game. Check out ModernTableGamer.com where you can find videos like these and videos from other videographers teaching games. So hopefully you find the game that you're looking for and can learn it instantly. So hope you like this video, and remember, if you're not playing games at least once a week, the planets won't align and we'll never achieve world peace. Take care.